What's in a journey? Is it measured in miles or in years? In the weight of struggles along the way, or in the forward motion of determined progress? This journey, the journey of Eastern Municipal Water District, is one built on perseverance, a water district that rose from resolve. In 75 years, EMWD hasn't just endured, it's thrived. An agency focused on securing the future from the very beginning.
Nothing happens without water. You can't farm, you can't live, you can't exist, you can't grow. Nothing happens without water. And so the beginnings of any community and any area within the state of California starts with water.
Back in the early 70s, we started this with only 80 acres, Dad did. It's great to start off with a small seed and get a nice big crop like what we have now and see the people getting started to work. It's a good life.
In the stillness of the morning, workers slice, lift, and load. A makeshift melon assembly line echoing the early days. Long before wide city streets and sun-kissed soccer fields, there were rows and rows of citrus groves.
Sunkist began here in Riverside County, and we all woke up with a whistle in the morning when Sunkist workers would go to work. And we would end the day with a whistle going off at the end of the day. And it was an ag town.
Ag towns in a desert. Limited water supplies, as common then as they are now.
Just plain low amounts of available water was a chronic issue throughout inland Southern California.
The need for more water for all Southern California was clear. Through the Roaring 20s, although Los Angeles was the fastest growing city in the U.S., there were growing concerns in those quiet farming towns to the east.
When Eastern first started, as a lot of water districts first start, and it was an agricultural district. You had individual farmers out there punching in their own wells and hoping they're going to find water. After years and years of doing that, they said, we have to figure out a way to have a more reliable source.
This is the unusual, unlikely, and uplifting story of what's become the 6th largest public retail water agency in all of California. And oh, what a journey it's been.
We've gone from mostly agricultural and dairy farms to today serving almost 1 million residents in western Riverside County and northern San Diego. It's truly an incredible transformation that has occurred in our region. We truly have a very rich history as EMWD. Back in 1928, the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California was established, and one of its first missions was to construct the Colorado River Aqueduct.
We here in Southern California are face to face with a water problem.
When they first get the idea of doing this, it's the late 1920s. There's all this growth. They have to build for Southern California.
We have reclaimed this desert, and now we have in its place this growing empire. And it will take it back unless we bring in more water.
And it's an incredible, challenging prospect. It's going to be the most expensive project in the United States at its time in the history of it.
This map shows the Colorado River and the Metropolitan Aqueduct, which will bring water to the cities of the Metropolitan Water District.
And Metropolitan is going to build and fund the Colorado River Aqueduct, Parker Dam on the Colorado River, and they're going to finance the building of Hoover Dam. And all that has to take place simultaneously.
Okay, so how did that lead to the formation of Eastern? Well, I'll do my best. That was before my time.
60,000 square miles have been charted and 65 separate routes have been carefully studied during the 7 years of research.
So interesting story. When the Colorado River Aqueduct was built, part of it was coming over the San Jacinto Mountain.
They decide to go through rather than around Mount San Jacinto, the largest mountain we have over here, over 10,000 feet high, and they're going to dig right through it.
Well, there were a few minor problems with the tunnels, things that people didn't expect. One of the things they discovered as they were boring that immense tunnel, 13 miles long and 18 feet in diameter, was the immense amount of water that was in there.
About halfway through, they hit a spring. It washes out. Luckily, it doesn't kill people, but it blows out the system.
The water that would have become groundwater here was instead pouring into that hollowed out tunnel.
My family was farming there and had land there, and my grandfather was impacted by what they did. Over the years, county of Riverside and local people said, you know, we've got to fix this.
Oh, it was an enormous issue. It was a massive issue because suddenly the ranches and farms that were in the area, their wells were drying up.
It fractured a lot of underground aquifers that held and provided a water resource to our reservation. When the tunnel was constructed, all that water was flowing into the tunnel, dried up our natural springs. We now have 2.
And Metropolitan acknowledges that they couldn't figure out how to stop the seepage. They tried cementing and grouting and all sorts of things, and they couldn't. So to figure out how do we account for this, they get this idea that what we need to do is create a water district that can then be someone we can make a settlement with and agree with, and they can take ownership of this water and distribute it locally.
And the Metropolitan Water District finally decided to give the local folks some credits for the water they were losing. And with that, it formed the Eastern Municipal Water District. Why is the water district in southwest Riverside County named Eastern? Well, it's because we are the most eastern member of the metropolitan family of water agencies. So I tell people back in the 1950s, they did not have branding consultants, so we were named Eastern, and we continue to be named Eastern to this day. And we have gone in our 75 years from a very rural and agriculture water district to one today where we serve nearly 1 million people with clean, reliable water and wastewater.
This is what our region looked like right around the time EMWD was formed. Back then, gas was 29 cents a gallon, and one could purchase a home for less than $10,000. When it came time to vote on whether or not to build EMWD's first water system for $4.3 million, folks did indeed vote yes.
75 years ago, when the district was created, there was probably some controversy at the time because there's going to be some fees, but it has allowed for everyone who lives there to live here within these district boundaries.
Well, I wasn't here in the beginning, but almost half, the way I look at it, with 33 and a half years, very manual processes. I started in our purchasing department in 1991 and can remember typing purchase orders on typewriters. And now it's a very sophisticated operation and managed through our Integrated Operations Center. Tremendous evolution in terms of the technology and the advancements we've made.
Think about paper drawings with physical stamps of our engineers writing on these plans versus the computerized systems that we have today. So pretty amazing just how it's evolved since 1950s to today.
Today, you'd drive through this intersection without paying any attention to the weathered yellow hydrant on the corner of 3rd and A Street. Funny thing, one summer's day, the water flowing through it was cause for citywide celebration. June 20th, 1953, the first Colorado River water arrived to Paris at 3rd and A. With reliable water came development, from Paris to the San Jacinto Valley and beyond.
Our street here, for example, Devonshire, was almost like a dirt road when I was a little kid. I can remember it, and you'd barely see a car go by all morning. Now you can barely get across the street, usually because there's so much traffic.
Nowadays, the phrase improvement district doesn't sound all that exciting, but back then, it was a pretty big deal. Outlying communities wanted a piece of this newfound plentiful source of water. EMWD pioneered a rather clever way to pay for all of the new pipes and pump stations, the improvement district.
Eastern Municipal Water District was just a fledgling water district at that time, and improvement districts was a vehicle associated with general bond obligations that came along with them to allow areas of the district to move forward with needed water and sewer improvements and provide the value to that immediate community without having to burden others outside those improvement districts for that cost.
There are other cities in the area at the time Eastern was founded that had small little water systems, and Eastern's been able to dramatically increase that, so we have water service virtually everywhere in the district that was not possible before Eastern was founded.
And so it's an essential service, and I think that's what we really provide, is that essential service for our community to exist.
Bringing long-awaited reliable water to places like the city of Moreno Valley and more unincorporated areas of Riverside County, such as Homeland, Green Acres, and Gilman Hot Springs. 11 improvement districts in all by the end of the 50s, adding more than 260 square miles to EMWD's surface area. And yes, a few more happy photo ops with fire hydrants.
Take it from her!
Even during a dry year, the soccer fields here are always green. That's thanks to Eastern's world-class recycled water program, which traces its roots generations ago when folks started to realize something didn't smell right. Water was flowing, the San Jacinto Valley was growing, but what to do with all that sewage?
Wastewater was seen as something that needed to be disposed of, and so it would be treated to the minimum requirements and then often dumped in the ocean, put into ponds where it evaporates, rather than being viewed as something that could bring benefit to the community.
So Eastern was treating sewage and basically putting it in areas where they felt like it would recharge into the ground, and it became pretty apparent that that wasn't going to work.
There was a time 90% of the valley's untreated sewage seeped underground, and as this rather colorful customer mailer explains, folks had gotten wind that something had to be done about that. That's when EMWD stepped in with a solution to protect public health and the environment.
And so that's when Eastern began to build modern wastewater treatment plants.
Eastern's wastewater treatment operations began in the 1960s. Rather than simply getting rid of it, Eastern's leaders had a different plan: recycle that wastewater, making it one of the first water agencies in the state to embrace recycled water as a sustainable solution.
We made some early deals with some of the dairy folks to say, if you would stop and let us use the water in your wells, we will provide you this recycled water for a very discounted price. And that started our recycled water system, which today is world class.
It's grown to a system that treats nearly 50 million gallons of wastewater daily, supplying recycled water through 260 miles of pipeline. Part of EMWD's goal to reuse every single drop of recycled water to help its communities thrive.
What you see here is all recycled water from that treatment plant right there. And without that, we wouldn't be able to farm.
EMWD's purple pipes keep farming affordable in parks, golf courses, And green belts, well, green. It's one small part of becoming less reliant on imported water and securing a drought-proof local water source with cutting-edge technology. It's more than just recycled water. Eastern is sustaining the region's groundwater, replenishing the underground aquifer with recharge ponds, and removing salts to create high-quality drinking water.
And in fact, one of those examples is where we're at right now. It provides us with a drought-resilient water supply. It protects our groundwater basin by removing tons and tons of salts every year, and it's cost-effective when compared to other water sources. So that's just one of the examples of the innovation and forward thinking that this organization continues to demonstrate.
The leadership has been visionary enough to do things that sometimes are hard to do, but that make a real difference. I mean, we're standing here next to recharge ponds, and I remember when those were just a dream. It takes a lot of vision, and then it takes money, and it takes persistence to be able to do that.
And not only that, we are in Washington, D.C., in the state of California, looking for grants at every possible way so that we can reduce the costs of facilities for our ratepayers.
The district, over its years, has received hundreds of millions of dollars. And all of these funds have gone into supporting water and wastewater projects. And without that funding, a lot of projects may not have occurred. Ultimately, the ratepayer benefits from that.
You know, we pay a lot of taxes. A lot of that money goes to Washington. And by golly, Eastern is going to Washington and places like that to bring it back to the local community.
Okay, water break! Cut you! Water break!
Well, I mean, my family's been farming forever, and from an early age, it's just a second nature, and it's what I always wanted to do.
The EMWD we know today wouldn't have been possible without people like Randy Record, one of the many key figures who made an indelible mark. Generations ago, Randy's farming family once felt the impacts of the tunnel seepage that helped lead to the very creation of EMWD. Quite the full circle moment decades later when Randy became chair of the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, and years after that when the tunnel itself was dedicated in his honor.
You know, I don't know if ironic's the right word, but, you know, my grandfather was one of the 4 parties that initially Metropolitan settled with before they increased that scope of that settlement to provide for all the communities. And, you know, I think what I really was most proud of was really wanting Met to be looked on in a light that shows that they really care about the communities and they're there for a really important reason.
Randy was truly the right person, right time. Having someone with that agriculture background, you know, a farmer, he could talk to farmers in Northern California, in the Central Valley, and represent Met in a way that wasn't like the image of Metropolitan in some of these places where, you know, here are these guys coming from LA in their 3-piece suits and they're just going to try and buy us out. And Randy's like, no, you know, we want to work and partner with farming and ag.
And thank you for bestowing this honor on me and my family. I appreciate it very much.
And he really was a right person at the right time.
Our nursery's name is actually Caliero Ranch Nursery. A lot of people do pronounce it Cagliero, but it is Caliero. You know, water will always be a part of a nursery. There's no two ways about it, so.
What was once a ranch became a nursery for 2+ decades. Today, the original building still stands, awaiting its next chapter. Here and across the region, water remains at the heart of the story, past, present, and future, in the fastest growing region in all of California.
I think when I first was elected, we had 300,000 or 400,000 people population. We have almost 1 million people now. Throughout these years that I've been here, we've had to keep up with that growth because technology, computerization, all of these things have advanced.
In so many ways, EMWD helped provide for the economic vitality in western Riverside County.
None of this was here. This was all just fields. Without water, it would still be fields.
From the steady drip of recycled water for vineyards and a new sewer system protecting groundwater in Temecula's wine country.
Oh, they're amazing. Absolutely amazing. What I love about Eastern is that they're problem solvers. They lead from up front.
To development in the city of Murrieta that couldn't have happened without EMWD water.
And that has allowed a lot of people to benefit from the hospitals we have here, from the housing that we have over here, from the shopping that we have now at Costco, and from dropping their kids off at a great high school. So all of that is the result of a great partnership with Eastern and the city of Murrieta.
To kicking off a grant-funded groundwater treatment project, providing for the people and businesses of San Jacinto.
And one agency can't do it by itself. We have to work together, and I think that's what's nice about this project is that it was a collaboration between EMWD, the state, the county, federal agencies kind of coming together to build the San Jacinto water treatment facility.
Eastern's always been a forward-looking agency, and they do things that are necessary to make sure that they have water supply in the future, because they recognize that this is the growing area of California.
And I thank EMWD for taking the measures to provide the opportunities for us, not only as a tribe, but as a people of this valley.
We're managing $4 billion in assets. Those are the community's assets. Really to make sure we're investing to maintain that system and to provide the essential service for the next 75 years.
I think excellence has been a mantra in this organization for quite a number of years. I think the continual pursuit of that excellence, to be somewhat cliche, is really our culture.
Investing not only in pipes, but people, in our leaders of tomorrow, in sustainability with renewable energy, in the environment with a recycled water wetlands project that's attracted audiences from around the world, in water efficiency with a garden proving modern-day aesthetic and drought-tolerant really do go together.
We want the public to view us as their neighbor. We are in this community right alongside them.
We like that, guys. Good job.
We're not just here to serve them the water, the wastewater, the recycled water. We're here to work with them because that is our obligation to make sure that our communities thrive.
I talk to business people all the time coming into the city. I'm at the city almost every day, and never once have I heard anything negative towards EMWD.
I don't go anywhere without my EMW water, I swear, honestly.
Eastern Municipal Water District, 75 years. What a journey it's been. The region still has so much room to grow.
We are a large agency. We cover a vast area, but we're only about 40% built out, so we've got a long way to go.
In order for this area to grow, we're going to need greater water supplies, and that's going to be supplied to this area by Eastern.
Eastern's going to be at the forefront, I'm convinced, of making key decisions for not just Eastern, but be a leader in the state, setting the standards that we'll be living up to for the next 50 and 100 years.
Water is life. Driving in the community, every day it reminds me, everything we do here matters to the community, makes a difference.
What's in a journey? Perhaps it isn't measured in miles or in years. Perhaps it's the people along the way, the people who make it possible.
It's truly an incredible team. This is just one of the most resourceful and knowledgeable and experienced teams, frankly, in the entire water industry.
Our board of directors, the leadership that they provide us, I find very inspirational.
This community that we serve, this region, almost 1 million people, it wouldn't have grown, it wouldn't have developed, it wouldn't have been able to happen without the water, without the wastewater, and now with the recycled water helping agriculture, it wouldn't have happened.
We are the backbone of this community. I just want them to know that good, clean, affordable water comes out of that tap and will continue for the next 75 years.
So here we are 75 years later. There's still seepage. The community is getting the benefit of it. I think Eastern has become one of the really great member agencies of Metropolitan, and it's really turned out to be a good story.
We stand on the shoulders of others that came before us here at the EMWD. And as we look back over our 75 years, we greatly benefit from their service, from the dedication of their contribution to not only EMWD, but to the communities.